Quiet Riot is one of the most underrated and important heavy metal bands of the 80s. In fact, you can easily call them one of the most important metal bands in the history of metal, as their song and first breakthrough album, Metal Health, changed the genre in massive ways. They are the reason heavy metal managed to get into the mainstream, and they are the reason why there was such a huge metal explosion in the charts. An explosion that helped pave the way for other metal and hair metal bands and subgenres, influencing hundreds of bands and singers. What's interesting about Quiet Riot is how, despite the band being extremely influential, most people barely talk about them, and even the metal community doesn't really remember them that often. It's a shame, because they are the reason metal went mainstream and had a massive impact on the 80s, an impact that can still be felt even today. They are mostly known for their two hit songs, Metal Health and Come On Feel the Noise, which were great party songs and had banging monsters. But despite Metal Health and Condition Critical being very solid albums with some amazing songs and lyrics, they never got the recognition they deserved. Even crazier is the fact that Randy Rhoads used to play for Quiet Riot early on in their career for two albums that only got released in Japan and never saw the light of day or even any radio play in America or the West. Those albums were nothing special or mind-blowing, but they still had Randy hammering away some amazing riffs. Rhoads eventually left to play for Ozzy Osbourne, which made sense as not only was Ozzy huge, certainly much bigger than Quiet Riot, but also no record label wanted to take on the band. It was extremely hard for them to get their big break or even some minor level of success, being forced to mostly play bars and small venues, barely making a living. They were grinding and slaving away, hoping to eventually smash down the gates of metal and leave their own mark on the world. With Metal Health, success finally came, making the world violently bang its head. It's actually a very good and raw album that, to me, perfectly defines heavy metal, especially metal the way it used to be in the 80s. It's a shame that people only really know two songs from it, as the entire album is very solid and good. This album did a lot for metal as a genre, musically and visually. I mean, just take the video for Metal Health, it's easily the most metal thing you've ever seen in your life, with Kevin DuBrow being stuck inside a straitjacket with this iconic mask while heavy riffs ring through the mental asylum. It was such a massive heavy metal invasion of the charts that this song even knocked down Michael Jackson's Thriller, which is just insane if you consider how big Thriller and Michael Jackson were at the time.
Under the moonlight, you see a sight that almost stops your heart.
I'd say that the cover of Metal Health is easily one of the most iconic and recognizable album covers in music history. When you see it, it sticks to you, burning itself into your brain. It's interesting that Quiet Riot had such a hard time getting their foot through the door despite clearly having great talent, which ended up being highly influential and important. But even after the success of Metal Health, they still remained underdogs despite paving the way for metal music within the mainstream and charts. Other bands such as Motley Crue or Red were still outplaying and outselling them, not to mention receiving far more media attention. I never understood how that was possible considering the banger that Metal Health is, until I learned what type of person Kevin DuBrow was. He had a massive ego, and while you might think that that's nothing out of the ordinary within the genre, especially at the time, Kevin was a different case. He was burning so many bridges you could see the fires from Mars. He picked fights with almost anyone he could, be it other bands or even his own band members. It got so bad that Quiet Riot eventually had to fire him, which meant that he got fired from the very band he created due to his behavior. I mean, he claimed that hair metal and the whole glam scene owes its success and existence to Quiet Riot and acted as if his band was God's gift to Earth.
View what's going on in the record business right now in music. At that time, there was nothing like Metal Health out, and I think there was a definite need for it, back to the crunching meat and potatoes, bang your head rock and roll that was on that album. If you view what's going on in music now, everybody and their brother is copying that style of music right now, and they signed everybody now. I mean, you've got everything on the radio is a sort of poor man's bang your head or feel the noise, something like that, which is fine with me because that's the kind of music that I grew up listening to, and I think it makes it all much healthier in the music business to have that kind of music on the radio.
One time, Ozzy Osbourne even punched Quiet Riot's bassist, Rudy Sarso, in the face due to some remarks Kevin had made about him. Adding to that comes the extreme drug abuse that he apparently took to a whole nother level, which made him impossible to deal and work with. It's because of all these issues that no venue and label wanted to deal with the band despite their clear commercial potential, which is honestly a damn shame. However, having said all of that, it wouldn't be fair to deny his impact as a band leader and singer. While his voice might not have been the cleanest or most powerful at the time, it had a very raw and original sound that was instantly recognized. I could pick out his voice in a sea of others without issues because of how iconic and unique it sounds.
Do you want to get crazy? I mean, do you really want to go wild and get crazy? Calling you. Yes, we keep calling you.
Honestly, Condition Critical is an extremely underrated album and in my opinion just as great as Metal Health. I was actually surprised to see a bunch of hate for that album online. While it might not be a masterpiece, I certainly don't see a reason to outright hate it, especially since it's classic 80s Quiet Riot and exactly what you'd expect to hear from them. It has some amazing bangers and feels very well structured and like they were basically trying to recreate the first album and its success. One of my favorite songs on here is Condition Critical. There's something about it that gets stuck in my head and keeps living rent-free after I'm done listening to it. It's also a fitting song for the album because it perfectly describes the situation Quiet Riot was in. They had to record this album almost immediately after they finished touring for Metal Health, completely burned out and exhausted. The fact that it managed to be as good as it is honestly crazy and just further proof of how talented the band was. Condition Critical is also interesting because it feels like a darker album. Even some of the more upbeat songs like Sign of the Times have a darker tone.
silent nights for you. Santa knows when you've been naughty, and he knows when you've been nice, and he knows when you need an MTV Metal Christmas.
It's MTV's heaviest Christmas contest. You win, and Quiet Riot comes to your house on December 25th with a mountain of Techniques equipment. I'm Donna, I'm Blitzen, I'm Carlos Camazo, I'm Rudy, I'm Frankie, I'm Kevin DeBro.
We'll be part of your family for all of Christmas Day. So let your neighbors feel some Yuletide noise.
And these wise men will be bearing gifts. A complete line of Technique stereo equipment, enough to build your own media room, including compact disc player, Stereoplex TV AM FM receiver, and Quartz direct drive cassette deck, all from Techniques. Of course, you'll get a collection of compact discs, including Quiet Riot. So if this is your idea of a family holiday, send your postcard to MTV Metal Christmas, P.O. Box 1211, Radio City Station, New York, New York 10101.
Quiet Riot is coming to your house on December
3. And unfortunately, Condition Critical was the last album that saw any major level of success, with the band eventually being drowned in a sea of other metal bands. It makes me wonder what would have happened if the band had behaved differently or had been managed better. They had an insane level of potential that never really managed to take off. Quiet Riot will forever be one of the most legendary metal bands because of their massive influence on the genre and head-banging power.
Right.